They think they put like cocaine in our coffee or something.
I mean, they did put something. I feel unusually jittery.
Yeah, when you started like making like Scooby Doo.
I would do that on a normal day, bro.
I was
that's,
like, okay.
That's not any different.
My man's recently has been. I think since you got the iPad, you're like a whole like. A whole new man.
I don't know, man. All I know,
you were laughing when I was making the Gregory.
Because it was just so funny, dude. It was just absolutely hilarious. Even I don't know if you know this, but you actually have been like hitting it really well with the comedy lately. So you've been getting some good ones in there, especially with the episode and the other stuff. So it could just be that you've gotten funnier and my iPad just happened to come at the same time. That's how coincidences work.
Yeah, I'm actually funnier because of the iPad. That's not mine.
Totally.
Anyway.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If you're an oldie, this is another episode of Two Bros and a Beard. My name is Ibrahim.
And my name is Assad.
And today we are shocking Assad.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
I went to the bathroom 5 minutes ago or something. And with the amount of clothes that we have to wear due to the weather, I'm constantly getting electrocuted by all sorts of outlets of current. And it kind of reminded me of childhood, not in a weird way. And so that kind of...
Did you get shocked as a child?
Well, we'll get into that. Which kind of sparked my interest in the topic about childhood. So I guess we're going to try to go down that train today.
You said something about, like, shocking pens?
Yeah. So, that intense pain channeled straight to my fingers reminded me, this is kind of just a throwback for y'all, when we were kids, right, elementary school, one of the big trends of, like, gadgets, we went through gadget trends, I think. That's something we should explore. But in one of those trends, there was, like, the electric pen, which was basically, like, a gag gift or, like, a toy. So, like, you're like, hey, can you open my pen? And then someone will, click it, and then they'll get electrocuted. But then it got to the point where, like, it was, like, a contest to see who could, like, touch it the longest. And then all of, like, the meathead kids would, like, put their thumbs on it, keep it there, and they'd be like, I don't have to take my finger off, you suck. So then everybody was like, no, I have to put my finger on there longer, I need to be able to withstand the pain. And I just remember trying, but I never could do it.
See, I remember, like, the shock pens and the shock gadgets and stuff like that, but I don't ever remember in my elementary school or middle school days having a competition with meatheads about who can hold it longer.
Not just meatheads.
But like, in general.
Everybody was like, no, give me, let me try. So, like, when we used to line up for recess outside the doors?
Yeah.
And you'd have to sit there for a while because the teachers were organizing. That was when everybody whipped out the stuff they were passing down the lines. So you had to be like, you couldn't scream because then you'd get it confiscated, which is another part of the challenge. So you had to like withstand the pain. And people would like count how long you could hold your finger on there.
No, I never had a competition thing. We had like, do you remember? I just now remember this as you started talking. Do you remember the little like gum pack that was shocking? It was like a normal like thing of gum, and it looks like just paper gum. There's like 5 stack of gum in there, just kind of like wrapped in paper. And you give a person a piece of gum, they pull it and they get shocked.
No.
Or like you kind of like touch it and you get shocked.
I've never heard of this. I mean, I think I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, essentially, it's just,
I've never seen it.
I've had like 4 like close friends had one of those. That's the only reason why I remember it. And it just looks like gum, and you're like, "Hey, do you want gum?" Zzz.
Dang.
And yeah, we would walk up to people and be like, "Hey, do you want?" When everyone wants gum in school.
Oh, especially in middle school, bro. Yeah. Gum became.
That's
currency.
what I remember. Like the gum thing in 5th grade, going into 6th, so kind of like middle school because everyone loves gum, and they're like, zzz, zzz, "You want some gum, bro?" And nobody would like try to do the whole competition thing. We would just try to see how many people we can get with this before it gets confiscated.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
Was it like a toy thing you'd have to get from like a shop, or was it?
I don't know where they got it, dude.
I don't know where these kids got the pens either.
I don't know where anyone. They're like, "Hey, mom, can I get a shocking pen?" What? Sure. Okay, 100%. Get me one too. Like, I don't know where the transaction was made, how they thought of it, if their parents even knew.
Yeah.
Because in elementary school, you don't pay for anything for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So your parents was like, "Oh yeah, do you want a new pen, honey? Go choose one from the store," and you find a shocking pen.
My friend one time, he gave me one that was like kind of working, so it wasn't as strong, but it still hurt. And I was like waiting, and finally I was like, it's in my ownership, and I looked at that, and I had like a superhero moment, and I was like, this is too much power for one person. So I think somewhere in the elementary school playground, I like buried it, and I was like, no one will ever know where this exists.
Do you remember where it is?
No, absolutely not. It would be really funny if we went back and tried to
I was
find
gonna
it.
tell you we should go back and
We
try
would
to
also
find it.
definitely get tased on the spot by those elementary school.
Well, we're
security
gonna
guards.
get tased, but as we're getting tased, I'll grab the pen and tase him back.
That's actually very
Simple.
That's very smart.
That's called a movie right
Retaliation.
there. No one can shock me without getting shocked. What's that? What's it called? You know those little, like, a lot of YouTubers and like celebrities do the whole like arm patch shocking thingies,
Huh?
the nerve
hospital
simulation thing. So essentially, you put like little like patches on your arm, and it sends like electro whatever wave into your like your
Electric
veins and your
shocks?
muscles, and so your arm like starts like moving
Oh,
and like
yeah,
bending or whatever it's called.
That's just a normal thing from the hospital.
Yeah, I want to do one of those because
That's
people
what
say
it's
like
called, the
that's what it
machine.
feels like to get shocked a little bit. I haven't gotten shocked in a while. Kinky. But like I've seen a bunch of like YouTube videos recently of like people like trying them on and like doing challenges.
Yeah, I watched a video of the guy who played I forget what game. I think it was Batman or Dark Souls, one of the fighting games.
Yeah.
And every time he got hit, he would get a shock. So it
Yeah,
was like incentive to
essentially.
not get hit because you'd feel the hit.
Or what's it called? Like I remember 100 Thieves. They were doing like an Uno thing, and every single time like something happens, you get like shocked.
That
and so
sounds
they'll be
like
like they'll hold their cards and they get shocked, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Yeah,
That
and,
sounds like fun.
and I would want to do that one day with the boys. Just all of us. We would cuss each other. We would have to like censor the whole like you must beep beep beep. Why would you beep?
Didn't we do something like this?
No,
I
we've
remember,
never shocked each other.
I remember someone bringing a machine during senior year that we did in the bottom floor art room where we would meet for lunch sometimes, where we like would get shocked, but then all of us didn't want to do it because we were like, oh, it's stupid. But I remember somebody
What?
bringing something like that. Like
I
you have to
don't-
put your thumb on a thing, and then if you get the answer wrong or something, it'll shock
Oh, it's
your-
one of those like lie things.
Something like that.
I don't remember this, but I
Like,
remember there's a machine.
Not code
though.
names, but you know, like one of the
It-
games.
I think
like
it
that.
senses. The one I'm thinking of like senses if you're lying or not. And so you put your hand on there and like sounds like it's like a gigantic like half dome, and they're like, "Do you like me?" It'll like beep, and you say like no, and it'll be like beep beep beep. I'm sensing you're lying. Shock
Bro,
tase. That's what I
imagine-
thought it was.
Imagine like you're just chilling in class, right? And then all of a sudden, a bag comes over your head, and you're like, your friends get your arms, so they tie you down, right? And you don't know what's happening, and then while they're carrying you on their shoulder, you could feel that you're upside down. Your head hits the side of the wall, and you get knocked out. And then you like gain consciousness. The bag is still on your head. They take it off, and then you're like because our bathrooms were larger in our high school, they were a little bit nicer. You're in one of the bathroom stalls, and it's just a bunch of people in the stall, and then like the girl that you're like crushing on, and she walks in, and your friends are like, they
Well, Assad. I heard you had a crush on me.
Yeah.
But last time I asked you, you said no. We're just friends.
And then her girlfriends, they're like, your friends are also there helping as the muscle, and they get your hand, they strap it down to like, you know, the toilet or
the little arm,
the towel thing,
Yeah.
and they put it down there. Then they get that machine, and
Well,
they're like,
today we're gonna see who's the liar. Strap him in, boys. And
who's
like,
the
they
liar
strap
and
him in.
who's the truther? And then
So-
they're like, how did you get a 4 on your last exam? And you're
Huh?
like, oh no, please, Betty, don't ask.
I don't know. Like, it's just, I just tried. I promised I didn't. What if that's like how teachers like ask you if you cheated or not? They strap you down to the little shocker. Like, did you cheat? No, of course not. You're lying. Turn on the machine. I'm gonna ask you one more time, Assad. How did you get a 4 on your tests? I just lying.
And then they'd be like, did you send your nudes to Betty? And you'd be like, no, I
No,
promise.
I
didn't
promise.
do
Mama,
that. Trust
I
me.
swear, I didn't do
just
it."
Google image something and I sent it. It wasn't really mine. And they're like,
Lies me.
And then Betty just like, give it to me. And they're like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. Just give me the controller. And then she goes, beep, 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 beep.
That's how you torture people nowadays. You're not actually have to like shock them. You just put little patches on you, and you're like, zzz, zzz.
And then they're like, dude, his hand's moving even without the machine. And they're like, all right, let him go. So
If
then
he moves, he's a witch.
They put the-
And presses the button.
they put the bag back on you, and then they just dump you in like one of the idea rooms.
Yeah.
Like one of the office spaces, and they're just like, he'll wake up when he wakes up. And then you just wake up like in the middle of the closing of the school, and you're like, oh my god. I could totally imagine our high school like something like that happening, especially during like any of the business projects when we had to make companies. People would have definitely gone ham and just been like, "Oh yeah, you want us to kidnap him?
I got you.
That's 50
100%.
ka-ching bucks.
Right there.
Yeah, just give me
Consider
the
him
money.
gone.
give it to me in advance with a 25% afterward, and I mean, call it a deal.
You know, one thing I'm surprised about, real quick, like a little side tangent. I'm surprised, like at least us boys, we had a pretty good like area in front of like the stalls and the urinals, or whatever, in between the sink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised nobody set up like a desk in there or something.
Well, what they did do was the grilled cheese thing that we talked about.
Yeah, but that was like on the actual like sink. They never set up like a desk or a table, and all of us came in and had a meeting.
Didn't they take their computers into the bathroom?
Did they?
With their moving table?
I know they took in a no. I mean, as well, I would not be surprised if he did that or not, but no. I think the furthest we've gone was taking the projector into the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, we were definitely creative with our bathroom, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I think one of the times I walked in there, one of our friends, Kobe, he was playing with a lighter in the bathroom. And I was like, whoa, Kobe, that's really cool, because his watch had a lighter.
Oh, yeah.
That's how he snuck it into school. And then I was like, whoa, what are you doing? And he takes out a deodorant can. He lights it and then freaking, sprays the deodorant and gets a whole freaking flamethrower going. And I'm like,
I'll see you later.
So cool. And then I'm like, but we're in a school bathroom. And then I was like, oh my God, what if we got blah, blah, blah. Started getting scared. And then as eventually he was like, you saw nothing. And he put his fingers on his lips and he just walked out of the bathroom. And as he left and the door sucked some air out, I could smell the entire bathroom smelled like Axe. And I was like, oh God, this is happening now.
Yeah.
And there was that one time where all of the urinals had that picture of that old Chinese painting in it.
Yeah, that was all
that
over
lady's
the school.
face, and we just put that inside where the urinal cake goes,
and it would just be on it
to everybody to just freak them out.
Yeah.
I remember that too. And then there was another time where someone put a picture of Nicolas Cage everywhere.
Nicolas Cage was everywhere in our school. He was a very big celebrity. We had him come over once. I'm just kidding. No, we didn't.
I wish.
But he would do a bunch of this stuff. Back to the little kids thing. Do you remember? Nope. Pause. Nope. Rephrase.
Anyway.
Rephrase. Back to when we were being kids. With
back
gadgets.
to when we were children.
Yeah. Do you remember the craze and like the hype and the timeline of when everyone would walk in with those, what they called invisible ink pens?
Yes. Oh God, invisible ink pens were so fun.
I found one other day in my room. I was like, wow, does this still work? Obviously the ink was dead, but I was like, this is gold right here. I can sell it for like $5,000. Oh my God. And now we realize like it's like blue light and we can go buy it off like Amazon for like $2.
I remember like when we used them, right? I guess I just never noticed how crappy they were. Like how the ink wasn't strong and the light was always so bad on the pens because the batteries were tiny and they would die so fast.
We would get them from book fair.
Yeah. So I would just like I would write on places and I would never get to see what I wrote. So eventually I would just be like, invisible ink could have been everywhere and I would not have seen it.
I used to, so you know how like I used to like, I currently like listen to music in the bathroom and like, waste my life in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. As a kid, I still used to do the same thing, but I didn't have a phone back then. So like I couldn't like listen to music or whatever. So I remember in my house right now, on like the wall right next to where the door is, there's like little like writings that I use from the invisible ink pen. And I was like, no one's gonna find this. Come to think, like 4 years, like what? We've been living in this house now for almost 11 years. You can slowly start telling what it is because like the ink on the old paint kind of like starts to separate a little bit or something. So you can kind of see like
that's sick.
the things I wrote. And my sister, before she like moved out, she was like, "What are you writing on the wall?" I'm like, "Huh?" She goes, "Yeah, there's writings on the wall next to the door." I'm like, "What are you talking?" I honestly completely forgot. Then I walk into the bathroom one day and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I guess she really did love me, huh? Martha did like me."
I hate my sister.
No, because I remember writing like "I heart Martha" or something like that, or something stupid. Because I was like 4 years old and with an idiot, and my sister's like, "Who's Martha?" I'm like, "She was a lost flame." And she was like, "What?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." And I had to explain to her why there's like secret writing on like the door and the wall, and she's like, "Okay." And then she just walks away. I'm like, "Okay, cool." And now I walk in the bathroom and I see it every day, and I'm like, "Screw you, Martha! You broke my heart."
You know what I used to do instead? What I would do is I would take anything I had and I would encode it because I loved coding things. Weird, different ways that only I would remember because I would know it, I would recognize it. So for one of these times, right, one of my friends said, "You need to tell me who your crush is," which I had many in middle school. I was like a romantic fiend. So, and elementary school. So what I did was I made a fortune teller. And in the fortune teller, I wrote her name in the letters broken up in a random order. but it was still in an order. I think it was reverse or like cross reverse. So like you could piece it together. If you would see the pattern, you would see like RISE and and you'd be able to make chunks of the names and then you put them together. And I gave it to her during elementary school, and then in like 8th grade, she undid the paper, which is cheating, by the way. That's not how that was supposed to work. But she undid the paper, and then she saw the little places I wrote the letters, and she was like, "Oh, it was her." And I was like, "Dog, that took you 3 years to figure out, and you just cheated to figure it out." And I did the same thing with a ninja star one time. One of my friends was like, "Hey, can you tell me who this is? Or like who did this in the school?" And I was like, "Sure." And I wrote the name on the different points of the star, but it was a special kind of ninja star that it's hard for audio, but like, if you have the star in your hand, you could twist it and it would make more blades come out. Because I was also really big into origami. So I'd made one of those. And on that one, I randomly arranged the thing. But the thing is, if you twist it back, the letters aren't there. And I threw the ninja star at him. And he never actually twisted it to figure out the other blades. So he was like, what the hell is this?
Why are you throwing this at me, bro?
I was like, man, listen, just look at it a little harder. Still, he's never gotten back to me about whether he figured it out or not.
Do you remember, what was the craze with everyone wanting to figure out who your crush was? Like, did you ever play that game in middle school? I played it in middle school where people would write, what was it? They'd write, the name of a girl you have to ask out on your palm of your hand. Yeah.
I remember, and then you just have, you'd have to keep your hand closed or something?
You're not allowed to look at the palm of your hand, what the name is in there, or you have to go ask the girl out.
Yeah.
I played that game twice. So once, I don't know the rules, and the girl, her name was Michelle. She wrote the name, some random girl's name in my class. I think she put Taylor or something, and she wrote Taylor in my hand. And I didn't know the rules of the game, and so I was like, why'd you put Taylor on the inside of my hand? And everyone in class goes, "Ooh, you have to ask Taylor out," and I'm like, "Huh?" Anyone want to explain? And I had to ask the girl out, and she said yes, just because as a joke.
She
said no. I was like,
Dumb.
"Taylor, I don't know what's going on here, but you want to go out with me?"
Dumb.
And she goes, "Sure, okay." And I'm like, "Yeah." And everyone starts laughing. They're like, "Yay!" The second time I played it, once again, I was like, "Oh, I remember this now." And they put a different girl's name in there, and I knew exactly who they put in there because that was the girl I had a crush on, and the girl who wrote the name in my hand knew that I had a crush on another girl. She goes, "Okay." And I was like, to compare this game, I'm going to put my hand away for the rest of the day.
I think I remember I only did that once. And I think the girl, because one phenomenon that would happen is the person who wrote it would put their own names in it.
Oh.
So I did not undo it until the very end of the day. And then I looked at it and it was her name. And I was like,
is this a sign?
Ain't no way that I'm actually going to ask her out. Not only one reason was because I was arrogant as hell or ignorant as hell. I didn't actually know what was going on. A lot of girls just right over my head, never even noticed them trying to talk to me. But also, I was also afraid. I was like, I can't even do it to somebody I do like, let alone someone I don't like. So then I just pretended that I never looked at it. And then I was like, oh, the ink washed away when I washed it away. My hands because it wasn't Sharpie. So I was like, this is the perfect exit strategy. And I was like, oh, I just washed away. I don't know. I see an L in there. I think maybe 2 W's, but who has 2 W's in their name? And they were like, "Oh, okay." I mean, if anything, if you come back to you, just let me know. But that actually reminds me. In middle school, we've talked about this a little bit. I was a romantic fiend, but I would do the dumbest things because I thought that's what girls liked, or I thought it would be cool. I remember that, yeah. And that's what would make a girl like me. And it turns out,
now that we're older and we understand,
it's just because I wasn't tall.
No. Huh?
Or no. I mean, there's a
lot of things.
There's a lot of reasons, but it had nothing to do with these things you were doing. It was.
I was tall in middle school. I'll tell you that's not tallness.
Ibrahim, trust me, man. There is an element of height. Every girl that I liked someone else, not only were they taller than her, they were taller than me.
Sure, but even now, there's always a aspect of height. You have to be taller than 6'9". Girl, ain't nobody taller than 6'9". Shut the hell up. But the other 95% of it is more than just height.
Do you remember when we changed our group chat to FAB name Rose?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, our group chat names are hilarious.
Don't worry about it.
But so your Rose, we were talking about because of my Rose, right?
Yeah.
So the girl I liked, whose name was Rose, she was liked by everybody. So I didn't realize this back then. I still thought I had a shot, but everybody had a crush.
You never have a shot.
And I was a small, ugly, fat brown boy. So like, yeah, I was definitely not gonna have a shot.
Yeah.
But or no, I was all right.
Listen,
I
being
was
fat as a
alright.
kid just means you're funny when you grow up.
That's true. But that's why we're hilarious.
That's why we're so funny.
But so one of the things that I would do, I told you about this before, is like I would run quickly in the hallway.
Oh, I remember doing that phase too, and
Like,
then I realized,
like Assassin's Creed, like just dodging people in the hallway and like.
and everyone be like,
getting your
"Oh,
stuff.
he's really cool. He can dodge people."
Is that actually what they thought? I don't think so.
know.
I think they just thought I was cringy. Because I remember, you know how I met Arslan?
Mhm.
Arslan, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. I met him because he shoved me in the hallway. So I was
Okay.
trying to maneuver, right? And he was, I guess, just normally not freaking ninjaing. And he pushed me and I dropped all my stuff. Classic high school moment. Then we kissed it. No. So then so then I looked at him and I was like, dude, what the heck, man? Because I was genuinely pissed. He looked back at me in his dumb green hoodie. He'll always remember. He had this silver and green hoodie that he used to wear all the time. He looked back at me and he just kept going. So I knew him as that annoying kid who pushed me in the hallway. Then I get to my next class where we had the same elective. And I was like, oh, I
There
know
he
this
is.
kid. He's in my class. And then we became friends. But
That's like me whenever I like became friends with my bully while I was in Egypt.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of like that. So I learned just through patterns that, certain periods and classes I would see her in passing period.
right.
So I was like, I have to save my energy. This is the passing period. And then I would feel like freaking bob and weave and duck and run and all of this through people.
Parkour.
I felt really cool. I'll tell you that. Regardless
Yeah.
about the actual effect,
You
felt
always
really
feel
good.
cool doing said thing.
And now I do that all the time, but not as cringely. But I brought up Arsenal because I was thinking when I watched other people do it, especially if they were those baggy hoodie annoying nerdy kids, I would be like, oh, they're just kind of cringy. Like they're just trying to like Naruto.
Why are they
run.
running like that?
They're trying to
Gosh.
Naruto run the class. But maybe I did it differently. I don't know. But
Dude.
so I would try to dash by her,
Yeah.
and it never worked,
No.
and I never really understood why. But I would always do that.
Was she a
And
popular
then-
kid?
Was she a Republican?
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
In middle school, is
I
she
said
a
a
Republican?
Popular kid.
Popular, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
She was blazing popular. Not the most popular, but she was a very, really nice person.
Is she a Republican?
I think she might be Republican, but she was really nice. So
Yeah, that's
it
nice.
made people talking to her and liking her really easy. So, and then another thing I would do is in my math class, I was in regs math and she was in honors math.
Ooh.
So
You gotta be smart
we
now.
sometimes had more calculators than we needed. So we would go give
Tell
them to
me
the class.
Tell me you're the one giving her the
So
calculator.
I would walk into her honors math class, see freaking, I don't know, trig sub on the board,
Mhm.
and I'd be like, oh, that's kind of crazy how I don't know any of that. And then walk in class with my hoodie on or whatever, halfway on my head with my earbuds in. I'd just be like, here you go, teach.
You nonchalantly just take
Yeah, and
the
I'd be like,
calculator.
here's the calculators, and then I'd spin around the desks or something.
Then you
and
look at her
or
now and be like,
move,
"Sup, babe," and walk out.
and then I'd be close the door. And I did that like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, surely one of these times and she did. She actually caught up
Cap.
with me after class, like right because the class was at the same time,
Kappa Sigma.
and she saw me in passing period and she talked to me. That was the first time that she actually went out of her way to talk to me, and I lost my mind, bro.
Hold on. What'd you say?
I don't remember. It was something along the lines of like, "Hey, you're like cool."
Cap, bro.
Yeah,
Ain't
I
nobody
know.
tell you she.
I know. That's why I was losing my mind, because I was like, "What?" But then she never spoke to me again, which makes sense.
I had like a situation like that where like the cool girl that I liked talked to me once in the hallway because we both like I think some guy like bumped into both of us while running. I think it might have been like a youth situation, and I was like kind of like we were walking like side by side, going the same direction because she was in my class, and some guy like runs through both of us, and we're kind of like, oh, what the hell did he just do? Like I kind of look at her and she goes, wow, how rude! Like what the hell? I'm like, yeah, that was stupid of him. And we kind of like talked up to the class, and we go to class, and we go our separate ways because she's the cool girl. I'm the weird guy that sits next to the guy that's cool, whatever.
Oh, so you're just like hitting his cool shadow.
Yeah, like me and him are really good friends, but he's the cool one, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, hey
ugh,
guys.
I hate that.
Anyway, and after that, she like never ever talked to me again, even though we had such a good connection of like heartbreak and being pushed around together.
See, back in the day, I was aware of the fact that I could ask people's numbers and like talk to them, but I thought that things had to happen more organically, like in the movies, right?
Right.
It had to be like fated. So if that happened to me, it wouldn't cross my mind like, hey, this is the one time you'll actually get an excuse to talk to this person.
Same.
You should get their number. I was thinking, it'll happen again.
It'll happen again, and we'll become friends, and
this
it will
is
grow.
only act 1 of the movie. We'll get to act 3, and I will see her again on prom night or whatever, and then like catch her in my arms. So I would never do it.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, I'm at that point where I'm just like, oh, I want your number. Hey, can I have your number?
Yeah.
And I wish that I learned that skill back then, because I would have saved myself so much heartbreak if I was just like, or not heartbreak. I never cared that much, but like dumb romanticizing. I would fantasize a lot in my head. I would have saved myself a lot of kidding myself if I had just been like, hey, I've actually seen you a couple classes. I think you're actually really cool. Yeah, can I get your Snap or something? And like, can I get your number?
Instagram was a big thing in middle school.
Really?
Yeah, if you weren't popular, or like you weren't like
well, that's true. Instagram was
cool
kind
or
of
something, like you couldn't follow me back on Instagram.
You
can follow me, but I won't follow you back or something like weird.
It was
BS
always like that. All of the
Yeah.
cool girls and the cool guys, they would get followed, but they would never follow back.
Yeah.
And whenever they were on their like Instagram, they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna follow back everybody who does it in the next hour." You'd be like,
Let me hit that button. Yeah.
But I remember I didn't have Snapchat. That was the one thing. I didn't have Kik because my parents didn't want that. So I only had Instagram and messaging. I wasn't really the craziest on Instagram. So, that wasn't never a thing. So I didn't have any. And then like in 8th grade, one of my close friends in middle school, his name's Aaron. If you're ever listening to this, Aaron, I love you so much.
Cap, it doesn't even know you anymore.
He actually he knows one of our friends. And he knew Gopal. And a couple other people we knew. Because he moved to Prosper afterward, and so he met all like Arjun and all of them.
Oh, okay.
But he was like, yo man, listen, I know you don't like Snapchat because you don't want like social media stuff, like you think it's annoying, whatever. I had really very good reasons back then. I was still a very uptight kid. So he was like, but just do it today, just download it for today and then just see. And my Snap score went like through the roof that day. And he was like, so do you like Snapchat? And I was like, I hate it, but it's a necessary evil.
I gotta have it, bro. I'm in middle school. I can eat it.
After all of middle school, which was really the most critical time to have a Snapchat, I got a Snapchat. So I never had like hey, can I get your blah 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 blah? I never had that line because I never had anything to exchange with people. And numbers for me were like very intimate, right? Like very personal. So you don't ask for someone's number. You ask for their Snapchat.
I kind of am in like that right now. I think majority of like our generation is more like Snapchat, Instagram type thing. Okay, no, more Snapchat than Instagram. But
you're right.
If you're trying to like date them type thing, you start off with Snapchat and then you can maybe lead into like
I would say
phone
that
number.
For dating, the typical line is, "Hey, can I get your Snap?"
Yeah, because that's how you start talking to them.
But you can go either way. I think.
Yeah, but like our generation wise, I think a majority of people only get your number if you're like, hey, we're gonna go on a date, and like you need to like call them and be like, hey, where are you?
Hey, do you have answers for the test?
That's the only reason why I have like half the people's numbers right now, and like college wise that I met in college. I'm like, just because like I need to like text you or call you or FaceTime or something.
That was what I was gonna say. I think when you meet someone in college specifically, and you know that there's nothing, right? You are just friends.
Yeah.
You get their number.
Right.
Because we're like adults now, I guess, so we don't need all the third party stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like asking someone out on a date or like something different than just straight up being friends or needing something for class, you won't get their number. You'll do it through some third party thing. Yeah. Which I think is very interesting.
I don't know why that happens, but I don't know. In our high school, it was mainly exchange numbers.
It was numbers. We didn't really do social
because
media.
It's more of like a business thing. Remember, because they were like because
right.
Our high school was all just group based, work together, blah blah,
project based, team based.
Yeah, and so you're supposed to like text each other, hey, anybody do the
right, yeah, we would get each other's numbers just from being in projects, and we'd have to have group chats.
And that's the only reason why I have half the people's numbers.
And you're right, it was like business, because we were like, why do we need the extra dimension of social media? Yeah. We don't.
And then you add because whenever you add people, it'll say in your contacts
from your number, and then you just do that,
and you just add them there,
like
and you're like, okay, cool.
Or WhatsApp or like Slack. Yeah, that's actually interesting.
But now we're like, hi, can I have your Snapchat? I think you're really hot, and then you go from there.
Well, actually, I was at a family friend's party 2 days ago or something, and I met some really cool people there. And I think it's easiest for me when I'm the most extroverted person in the room. Yeah. Because I feel like not dominant, but like I feel like I have nothing to lose, right? Like shy people, they're not going to give you crap for messing up because you're so social and so personable that you'll like. Have you ever met someone like Nat or something where they're like socially confident, so like they seem bulletproof. Like even if they make mistakes, they're just like ha ha ha. that was so funny that I did
I didn't
that."
mean to do that, but it's okay.
Because
Okay,
they're so
moving
open
on.
about the fact that they made a mistake that you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I guess there's nothing to make fun of."
Yeah.
So, but then when there's more extroverted people, you can't do that. So I was in the situation, right? I was very confident. I felt like I was too confident. I was kind of annoyed at myself. I couldn't really turn it off. And so I just started asking for people's numbers. Like I was just like, "Hey, do you want my number? You want my number? You want my number?" And I got like,
You get a number.
bunch of
You
people's
get a
numbers.
number. You get
and
a
I was
number.
like, I must sound like an idiot right now.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I was like, I must sound like the most like airheaded dum dum.
You're trying to expand
but-
your networking.
But that's what you have to do. Honestly, the only
Yeah.
difference between like if it's at a networking event or friends is that at a networking event, people understand that people are trying to get people's
Yeah.
numbers, right?
But at
When
that
you're
point,
with
they sometimes
friends-
give you like their emails instead.
Yes, or their business card or something,
something
or
like that.
website. But when you're with your friends or people to become friends with, it's with the intention that, oh, like you like me enough that you want to keep up with me after whatever little thing we're doing right now.
I always have the issue like nowadays where it's like, do I ask for their snap or do I ask for their number? And I'll sit there for a second like, okay, where do I want this relationship to go? Just friends? I mean, I guess I can go down a Snap road. I mean, that's pretty safe. Or do I want their number? Do I want to text them every day or do I want to Snapchat them?
See, the
Which
thing
one's
about-
easier?
The
I
thing
think
about
Snapchat's
Snap is that
easier.
you get people's faces, so like it's like you're texting them, except you can see their face more. Which if it's someone
Yeah.
you like, you'll want that.
I think Snapchat is easier for the sole reason that like what I do sometimes with like Thomas and like some of the people friends we have is we'll just send like blank snaps. Like we won't say anything. It'll just be like the corner of our face or like whatever homework, whatever, right? But for text, if you're texting someone, you have to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Which is why I sometimes overthink it. I'm like, do I want to try? So do I get their number? Question mark?
Yeah, that was my number one problem. Even in high school, it was the girls that I would talk to. Even if I got through the freaking impossible steps of actually getting their number, which I did for a couple of them, like,
Watch me.
talking to them, dude. I'm censoring that. I'm censoring that, bro. Bro, Anjanavi, you just exposed my whole. If I even got to the texting phase,
Moving on.
I would have the driest conversations, and that makes sense, I think,
Yeah.
because it was the way back then to say I don't like you like that.
Yeah.
So no matter how hard, I was like, tell me about your life. Tell me what you like. What's your life? For me, I was just like, for them, I was just some kid that they got their number. So they're like,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm low-key glad that Game Pigeon was a thing.
Game Pigeon is such a better like
Just because like
thing, right?
I could be playing like 8-ball with them or whatever, and then we can be like, oh my god, haha, that was so lucky, like you didn't know. I mean, and then you're gonna have like kind of like a bicker over the game. Like,
Yeah.
no, redo. That doesn't count. Oh my god, you're such a loser. Hey, listen, bro.
I remember the
Don't
Game
call me.
Pigeon
You know, you
phase.
can go down more of like a conversation, and you can waste time with the game. But like now, without the game wise, it's kind of like hard to sometimes like, how do I continue on? We just finished talking about school. What's next? I don't know.
Yeah, and people would be very hard to pick up from. I think another one of those big problems that we used to have when Snapchat was around, right, is girls, and I don't mean this, it's not bad at all. They found a way to take pictures so nicely, and I still looked like a freaking ball of sludge. So whenever I would snap a pretty girl, right, or a cute
You gotta
girl,
actually try.
they would look good, flawless. I mean, maybe they were trying, I don't know, but they would make it look like it was effortless, right? And then me trying to do the same thing, I would just look, I felt like I was that cringy kid on my Instagram, you know, if you scroll down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And all those pictures I used to take, I still never figured it out. Even now I have that problem with friends that I snap. So it's like, for me, it was really only sending blank snaps or extreme close-ups of my face where I was being silly on purpose. 'Cause there was no middle ground. I didn't look good on camera. Photogenic-ness was like such a big thing when we were younger, because I swear to God, nothing would make me look good on camera. And I felt so bad. I didn't hate my image, but like I was like, why can't I look like those guys?
How do you like work with the girl Snapchats?
Yeah,
She
like,
looks
how
really
would-
good, and
how
you're
would
like,
they look so good.
I look like a potato. How do I match this?
Yeah, not even body, just face. Like,
Yeah.
Sure, they would do the angle thing or whatever with like a kissy face, and maybe they had filter game, but which I hated filters. But
Filters save a lot of
in
people.
general, I swear, they could just stand in front of a tripod and they would just take a picture blank, and they would look better than I did. It was so confusing.
This is gonna be a really weird question, but I'm always curious to ask people about
I
this.
love weird questions.
When was the first time? I'm gonna say Snapchatting because I don't think anyone else does this besides Snapchat. But when was the first time you Snapchatted someone with like? This is gonna sound weird, like kind of like with your like tongue out type thing. You know, like
Very
girls like
early
bite
on.
their tongue or like, you know, do the whole like tongue thing, whatever.
Very early on, and I can't express this over audio, but it was not in the way you're thinking
Yeah.
of. It was in the stupid way, like
Oh, you're talking about like the weird like
full tongue,
mouth
like
things.
if you guys know the Pokemon Lickitung.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Like not
But you know how girls like they'll do like the whole like tongue like or like the whole like tongue out, not
the
even
actual
sideways.
like cute flirty tongue out thing. Yeah, I would never. I could not.
I remember doing that for the first time in 9th grade.
Whoa.
And I was like,
whoa,
this feels really wrong. In my head, I was like, this does not feel right. And the girl I was Snapchatting, she used to always do it. And I was like, maybe I gotta do this. I don't know how to do it anymore. Like I don't know how to do it, and I felt so weird doing it. I don't know.
See, I just took a picture and we still look like dopes, dude. I don't get it.
You gotta actually try. That's
I swear to God, I look in the mirror and I'm like, dude, yeah, your beard looks nice. Your feet.
Yeah, you're like,
it looks
good.
together.
The feet looks
and then
good.
the moment the camera comes on, I'm like,
yeah, who the hell is?
I think it might have to do with the lens or something.
Yeah, blame the lens.
Because like in a mirror it's shallow, but in a camera it's a little bit like curvier. I don't know, dude. I swear to God, I look ugly in all of these.
Yeah, blame the lens. Blame the lens.
I'll blame everything.
That's why nowadays, like, I don't care what my picture is. But back then, when I was trying to pick up like girls, or whatever, if she did the tongue thing, I had to do the tongue thing. If she had like a weird face, I'm like, how do I compare back? Are we doing crazy faces, or did she do it on accident?
Do you think it's a situation though where for them they think it also looks bad, but for us we think it looks really good, and vice versa?
I think girls, if they like someone, they'll have that conversation. They'll have that like, oh, I gotta look good, match the same energy. But if they're just Snapchatting friends, they don't actually care. Because I've had a bunch of girls like Snapchat me, they don't care how they look.
But do you think that they think the way we do? Like, oh my God, you look like model perfect, like you look crazy, or do you think
if they like them, that's the thing.
Are
I think
you
that's
sure?
It. Bro, I had middle school girls talking to me about how they like a guy, like the football team coach, whatever, quarterback, the quarterback, and how they like had to like Snapchat him back. I remember a girl telling me she had to put on makeup to Snapchat a guy back.
But do you think the girl she thinks she looks good in her photos?
Not girls hate looking. Girls have to take 600 pictures.
I think it is like that phenomena where like I think they look good, but I think I look bad.
Yeah.
They also think they look bad. Everybody just thinks they look bad.
Yeah.
Which I guess if that's the way the world works, then it's even. So I'm not as triggered about it. But
listen,
I wish
we
I
both
could
look
do better.
bad to each other, so it's like
That's what I liked about Brianna.
Mm-hmm.
That she didn't do all this dumb stuff. Well, she also didn't have Snapchat in the beginning, but it was like she was just a normal human being. And other people that I met as well, like y'all were really great. Except Thomas, because he kind of tries with the Snapchats. Y'all are just like...
Bro, you saw the cursed picture I sent you guys the other day.
Yeah, Amar sent us a picture of him on the toilet, and it was...
I think we Snapchat each other more on a toilet than, like, anything else. Like,
bro, it's so good, though.
That's... Literally, I Snapchatted the boys in the group chat on your toilet.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we are in life.
It's the best place to take because you have a background.
Yeah.
It's built in
It's
there.
a solid, like, plain background.
You have sound effects if you need them.
I mean, I don't send videos while I'm on the toilet. Unless I'm talking
Sometimes.
and, like, I'm just kind of chilling. But, like, unless it's the boys. If I Snapchat a girl while I'm on, like, the toilet...
Oh, no. Girls is different.
I'll do, like, the corner face or something. Like, I don't do all of it. But, like, if it's the boys, I'm like, hey, bro, you want to hear this massive dump I just took? Like,
well, actually, we have many times unsolicited just gotten videos from our friends of just, like, the plop in the toilet scene. You're just like, oh, okay, well, today's one of those... okay, what I thought you were going to ask me originally was... When was the first time you got a nude? Because my answer to you would have been like a couple months ago. From our friend group. From our friend group. Not anyone in particular.
I was about to be like, hold on, we're going to go down this road. Do we need to pause? Talk
just
about
our
this?
friends. Because like, just randomly the other day, we just saw some crazy.
We saw the moon.
I was like, I did not ask for this. I did not want for this. I've seen other stuff in real life, like.
Yeah.
That's another crazy story. But that's not maybe something we can tell right now.
Not now.
But that was the first time digitally that I'd seen anything.
Yeah.
Other than something you guys did, like, oh, look at this bot that she sent me.
Yeah.
I'd never gotten anything myself, thankfully. But I did know it was a freaking racket in middle school.
Yeah, it was
insane. Like, there was, like, controversy out the wazoo specifically, and you wouldn't think, with the white boys. Because of theirs. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was this whole drama that some kids sent theirs. She sent hers, right, or whatever. But then she was, like, mentally unstable. So she would send his around to all of her girlfriends and stuff. And he was really pissed about that. So then he did something that was also, like, he broke up with her in a really butthole way, right?
Yeah.
So they were both bad in the situation.
And that's how 13 Reasons Why starts.
It was, like, this crazy thing that just took over the whole school. We were all thinking about it. It's not, though, really. Because if you think about that little moment in your life, when you're in the moment, it seems really crazy. Yeah. But then Well,
No. If your nudes get sent around,
it depends on how traumatized you get.
Yeah.
Like,
we had a girl.
Have you seen Netflix Tall Girl?
No.
Okay, well,
I've seen
it's
like
about
of
a
it, but,
girl
like,
who's tall, and I'll tell you the depth of her problems, not that deep. So her, when she'll grow up, right, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I just got made fun of for being tall."
Yeah.
But 13 Reasons Why, that's like
She actually had her
she
nudes
actually
leaked
got
or
like
whatever. Yeah.
no, she got like bullied afterward, right?
Yeah,
Like she
that's what I'm
got
saying. Yeah.
actually harassed in school. So then I think that might have a lasting scar.
I don't know. I think everyone has like trauma differently, so I don't know. But I had a girl in my middle school, the same girl I had to go ask out, and for the little palm hand thing, and she sent I think her nudes to like one of the guys on a football team. And I don't know what happened with that dude, but he ended up sending it to like 7 of his guy friends, and then 7 of his guy friends sent it to 14 of their friends individually, and then like it just spread. So I ended up seeing them at one point, and I'm like, what? I don't even talk to this chick. Why do I like have them? And then
Yeah, when it gets to you, you're like, hold on,
why?
this is what?
And then she would walk around and be like, but the weird thing with her was she walked around with confidence because now everyone like nobody can say anything about. I don't know what her mindset was. She just had confidence after that.
She had a Bella Thorne.
She was like, y'all see my nudes? I don't care. Spread them even more if you want. I don't care.
That's crazy, bro. That's
and nuts. I'm like,
no, that's really powerful.
And I asked her, I was like, is it because like you enjoy doing this, or is it like what's the mindset?
Is it a power play?
And she was like, I don't know, I just don't care. I was like, and in like a sexual way you don't care, or like a mindset like I don't care, y'all are all stupid, and I'm not gonna see you in 4 years. She goes, I don't care what ends up happening. And I'm like, huh, cool, bye. I'm just gonna leave now.
Do you remember how like in-depth cheating was?
Cheating,
especially with social media and Snapchat and stuff. Like taking a, like I remember
cheating
all
on a
the
person
time,
or cheating on a test.
Test.
Oh, it's like
school stuff. Like I remember when Snapchat became really big, and people were like, "So you can't track the images that we send."
So they're gone in 9 seconds.
They're gone in a minute. So then people would be like, "Hey, before you give your test to your teacher, just take a snap of the like front, right? So that even if the answers are wrong, at least I have something." And then people who would get the test back the next day, and then people in the later period that they would take the test, they'd be like, "Hey, can you send me pictures of the graded test? Like, I want to see what's going on." Yeah. I remember so many times people were like, "Can you snap me this? Can you snap me that?" Unfortunately, certain times I did budge because of peer pressure and stuff. I remember there was a lot of me having to deny though. Like I had to be like, "Dude, come on, just do it yourself. Like you're probably smart."
I've done that a couple times, and I've always felt bad doing it.
Yeah,
even though it was the right thing.
Me too. But I was definitely my like hierarchically that nerdy kid who you could depend on to be smart. So like it was always I was the guys. I remember specifically one of the guys who did it to me, and I hated him for it. He's my neighbor actually.
Hey, you got some eggs?
I wish. He like told me something about how he's really bad at typing. So he was like, "Hey, can you just like type up the beginning of this like computer science project we have, right?"
No.
And just because he was like, "And we'll just keep writing as we talk," right? So he spoke everything, but he made me answer all the questions. Like he'd be like, "So how do you think we do this?" And then he'd be like, write that down. And I basically did the entire like end of term project for him and I. And I just never realized it. And then at the end I was like, wait a second, he did literally 0% of this work. And he just straight up like he's still not bullied, but he was still mean to me, right? He was before. He was super nice while we were in group, and then after went back to being mean.
Use whatever you use him until you don't need him anymore. Yeah,
man.
I would do other people's work, but I would definitely charge him for it.
We should do an episode about bullying. Well, not bullying literally, but like annoying kids in high school, because I had so many experiences in middle school because that's when the cliques were a thing.
Yeah,
I could tell you, and you could give the opposite perspective of being the bully.
Nah. So I had a similar idea of that. But I would actually just charge the kids that I was doing their work. So either like food or money,
brain,
or like some sort of like I'll do your homework if you do mine or something like that. I still did it in high school for like some people, like some of our closest friends. I would just do their homework and they'd get me like lunch. I'm like, hey, yeah, save money, live better, Ibrahim. And it would just work out, and I'd be like, oops, I missed a question. I didn't mean to. I was like, I had a guy once pay me. I almost got into a fight with him, so I was like, I hate you. You're going to come give me your homework to do? Okay, give me your homework to do. I missed like 7 of the 10 questions. I was like, really? That's so weird. I thought I did. oh, I put a plus instead of a minus. I'm so sorry.
Oops.
And he was like, damn it. Okay, whatever. And he was like, move on. I'm like, what you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do? I'm on the football team now, boy. What you gonna do, huh? Huh? Swing.
Yeah.
Not actually, but you know.
Unfortunately, I was not on the football team.
No, bro. Honestly, I was on the football team, and I was gonna say this, bring this up earlier, but I forgot until now. I was probably like a toxic thing in my mentality, but I had this like high of where I would act super, super like cool and confident, because for some reason I thought like, oh, girls like cool, confident guys, and I'm like,
Totally,
well, I'm on the football team, and you know, I'm friends with some of the cool guys. Like I said earlier, like I'm friends with like really cool kid, but I guess I'm not considered like a cool kid per se. But all the cool kids talk to me, right? All like the guys on the football team would talk to me. Some of the girls that were friends with them would talk, whatever, right?
You were like close enough to actually qualify.
But I'm also still friends with like the not cool kids, so I'm kind of right in the middle. And I was like, yeah, bro, I can talk to the cool kids, blah blah blah. And so I would have this mindset of like, no one can talk to me, but at the same time, I have to be super confident and nice to the cool kids. So I would pass this girl every single day walking out history. She would be walking out, I would be walking in, and I'd be like the whole like, yeah, boy, I'm cool. But like, I wouldn't say anything. I just have one earbud in and walking around, you know, when everyone sees one earbud swinging around, and because you only have one in your ear. And I would walk in, I'd be like, I kind of like, you know, look cool, feeling cool. Did I actually look cool? Hell if I know. But I would feel cool, and I'm like, yeah, buddy, I'm cool now. She don't love me. And she would just like walk out, and we kind of look at, once she like smiled at me or something like that, I'm like, that's working. Yes.
I'm finding my phone.
Yes. And so I was like, yeah, because she thinks I'm cool. So one day I was with one of the cool guys, right? And I still see him every now and then. It's college. And one of the girls I liked. And he goes, hey, Ibrahim, we're going down the hallway. No one's in the hallway because it was during class. I was going to go drop off something, whatever. And he was walking towards me with the girl I liked, and I was walking towards them going to class. Mm-hmm. And so the guy's like, oh, hey, Ibrahim. I'm like, what's up? And I do the whole like 360, like in the middle of my 180. I'm like, hey, what's up? And I keep walking. The kid was still trying to talk to me, the cool kid. He was trying to introduce me to the girl.
Oh, no.
And I was like, nah, bro, I gotta be cool. You know, me and him, hey, what's up? How you doing, buddy? And I just kept walking. And as I was walking into class, I heard them stop and be like, where'd he go? I was like, wait, you guys actually wanted to talk to me and have a conversation? Oh my god, I just missed my shot. And so my confidence, like toxicity of like being like nobody, like I have to be cool, you know, it just took a bad beating, bro. And I was like, I gotta stop doing this. So I ended up in 8th grade. I started being like the normal cool kid who would still talk to non-cool kids. And I would not have this whole like mindset of I'm too cool for you to talk to me. Don't talk to me. I only talk to cool kids. But like, hey, how you doing, buddy? And it just went out the window. And I was like, this seems a lot nicer. And like the cheerleaders that were in my class started talking to me because I seemed a lot nicer. And then I eventually up in high school, I ended up being a good best friend. Mm-hmm. Did I say that a lot? My bad.
Oh, that's a whole nother.
That's podcast. A whole other heartbreak.
That's a whole nother therapy.
Dude,
to be honest, bro, I was gonna bring it up earlier, but I was like,
that's an episode of heartbreak.
We need to make that succinct. I was also the same, but in a different way. I was friends with all. It sounds mean, but like lower.
Yeah.
Like, I was also there. I was friends with all normal people, right? I was really amicable. Like I made a lot of friends, but then I was strangely friends with a lot of the cool kids. Mostly the ones who were like not stuck up. Yeah. Those were genuine friends I made. And then I was also friends with the upper kids. But because I wasn't on the football team, there was always this little dissonance between us that you could feel.
Yeah.
And I remember this specific instance where I was at a table. There were 3 girls at the table. One of them was one of those cool kids who was like actually genuine.
Yeah.
One of them was a cool kid who was distant. And one of them was a cool kid who was halfway in between.
Right.
And I remember them gossiping about the same guy. And I would give them advice. And I was like, in my heart, I was like, whoa, what about me, guys? I'm pretty cool. I'm helping you guys through your emotional trauma or whatever. And I remember the girl who was the coolest, right? I could tell you her name right now. That's how much vengeance I have for all of these people. But she was always cold, and she was just amicable, just like normal.
Right.
The middle one, she was really nice. She was really sweet. I think her name was Grace or something. But she was really sweet. And then the one who was like my close friend, Ashley, she was a sweetheart. Like, she was one of my best friends. She was always so cool. And she was also, they were all three into this one guy. And I remember the day when the coolest one, obviously, got the guy. And the tea that it created, and I was just sitting in the middle of this mega storm. I love those
teas, bro.
And I was like, I'm in this situation where they're using me as an emotional arm stool. But I like it. It's okay, because at least I get to see the action from the inside. And I would pass this kid in the hallway. So I would see his facial reaction right before he was going to talk to them. And then as I was walking away, I would hear them talk to him. And it was the funniest stuff on the planet, bro. But I remember specifically in like 6th grade English, that like distance that I'm telling you about, it felt, I remember this is one of those perspectives where like I look back at middle school very fondly, but this is one of those parts where I'm like, yeah, middle school was a freaking jungle, bro. Right. It's a kill or be killed kind of like, this is one of those negative parts where I literally felt like girls were using me. Not in an intelligent way. Definitely not in an emotional way.
All girls are using
but people. More like, I literally felt like a dwarf. Like, I felt like I was just this small, cute kid for them, because they're like being like, oh, you. Aww. So I remember when people would give me a chance, I would be so like sparkled by that I wouldn't ask questions, and then I would notice way too late that they were like, oh, he's poor little guy. Let's let him sit next to us, and I was like, wait a second. They're just using me. And then I was like, well, what do you do in this situation? Because I was never I'm still not the kind to cut ties with people, right? Because like sometimes you do genuinely meet nice people.
Yeah, because in I want to say like beginning of high school, you were just like that one nice kid that's like, oh yeah, I mean, okay, I'll try my best, even though it wasn't your fault. I was like,
which is why in high school I was so reluctant to meet people, because I didn't. Middle school was so cliquey. Yeah. High school was so not cliquey. Yeah. That I was like, these are real people?
They actually want to talk to me?
They're not fake. And
about
I was like,
me?
I remember there was a specific day, me, Sienna, and Riley on the first project of the school year. Uh-huh. I was sitting there and I could not trust any of them because I was so afraid. Nice. So I was just listening to like, what's that song?
Robbery.
Just let it go. Oh, let it go. That's all I can sing without the MCA. But that song on repeat in our Miss Semi art class. Yeah. And I just remember being so sad.
Like, I'm gonna let it go, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, literally, I mean, music, we can talk about this in the music episode. I've talked about this before. Music has like a very strong effect on my emotions. Right, yeah. And I remember, especially when I was like an annoying emo middle school kid, I would use music to make me sad on purpose. And that was one of those moments where I was like, I just want to feel sad. I just want to feel something. So in that class, because I already knew all the art stuff, I was fine. I was literally just sitting there thinking about all my middle school friends that ditched me and all the annoying pain. And then I was like, and I'm in a new place. I have no friends. I don't know anybody. The future's going to suck. And I just remember sitting there like, this is what middle school has done to me.
And then Sienna punched you.
Sienna punched me?
I have a video of her punching you.
Really?
But it was as a joke.
You got to show me that. No, I remember Sienna was really sweet. Sienna was like the first kind face to actually like give me a chance and talk to me. Mm-hmm. Other than friends from Satellite. Yeah. Which is how I met Carter and Katie and Rachel.
You say those names, and I'm like, okay, that one and that one. Okay, now I remember all of them.
It takes a second.
It takes a second to load in.
But I don't know. Were there any like you were saying like that toxic thing? But any like weird lasting impacts from middle school that got you when you got to high school was something that you actively thought about?
I don't.
Like maybe the cool guy routine or. Like
no, what I realized was like, you know, I told you like the whole cool guy routine had like I dwindled off and like starting with like 8th grade ish. Mm-hmm. When I got into 8th grade, I kind of like focused a little more about myself, and I was like, you know, if I'm gonna be on a football team, I can't be like, you know, a jockey airhead. And so I was actually doing good in school. I was still friends with like my same old friends. I was kind of at the table, and you know how lunch tables dictate who you are in life.
Oh my god, lunch was such a scary event for me.
I was like, we had a table of all the cool kids and like guys and girls, and then there was one next to it that was the leftover cool guys and girls. Actually, mainly guys. Now that I think about it, the leftover cool guys, and then some of their friends. And I was like there, and at one point, like one of the cool guys came inside at our table and started sitting there permanently. And so then we became kind of like the cool table because we were next to the stage. You know, the stage was the cool part. Or
why? That's actually kind of crazy.
Because no one is allowed on the stage.
Every single place, even for mine, it was all the tables closest to the stage.
100%. That's how it works. I don't know. I didn't make the rule.
Crazy, dude.
It's been written in the Constitution. I don't know, bro. And we were just kind of sitting there, and at one point I realized because my friend left beginning of second semester, end of first semester, 8th grade. So my main friend that I would talk to, he like moved or something, and so I kind of sat there alone for a little while, and then I started making more friends with the cool kids. I started playing like PS3 with them every night or whatever, and I was like kind of cool, and I was like, I have friends now. I FaceTime you now, bye. But like since I came off my high horse in 7th grade, I kind of started like vibing with myself all through 8th grade and like figuring out who I am. And if girls had problems with me, I'd be like, okay, do I care? No, I'm actually going to a different high school than you, so like you can suck my anyway. And so I was.
If you want to, I'm not.
I mean, I ain't gonna say no. I'm just saying. But I was kind of just like vibing out through. I was kind of focusing on classes and like whatever happens, happens, and I was kind of enjoying life. And like football season was kind of carrying just because. I don't know if you ever felt this or not, but like when I was in football, it felt like there was. It's gonna sound super weird. There was more to my day because my day would start earlier. It would be like 2 hours before school actually starts.
No, absolutely.
And then like during first period, and it would be like, yeah, that's what's my drive. Like that fun and me losing weight and I look good and like all the girls now know me. But it wasn't like that high, like I'm on a high, what's it called? High chair? I wasn't cool. I wasn't like the cool thing, but like I was like well known kind of thing. I was kind of vibing through that, and that's what got me through like the coolness, and my education was on point. And so when I got into high school, I realized that all of that like little I'm cool, everyone like knows me left just because I didn't go to the same high school as everyone else. I was in my middle school. I went to a different high school. Mm-hmm. So now I got to kind of restart. So we'll see how it goes. The first when did I meet y'all? I know I met y'all in first year.
It was basically first year, end of second semester. Or end of first semester.
End of first semester, but beginning like half of like first semester, I was sitting by myself during lunch. And I was kind of sitting there just eating my lunch. I'm just like, I have a phone. And I just kind of said it was on my phone. I didn't talk to anyone. And then I started talking to like Rohan and Jose and all like the other kids that are like kind of like mischievous, but not. No. Let me restate that.
Definitely
they're kind of mischievous.
Definitely mischievous. But they would trick you into thinking they weren't.
Yeah, and then like I kind of ended up with y'all. And then that's how that ended up being. But like the whole like idea of being cool kind of was like, yeah, you gotta restart, buddy. Like that doesn't matter anymore in high school.
How did it feel? Because you knew, like for various reasons, that you were not going to be able to be with all those people in middle school. So like, how did that affect, especially that last part of your middle school experience when you're on the outset? Because for me, bro, I was like, I'll talk about it more in a second, but I was like creating contingency plans to make sure that people wouldn't forget me. They still did, but
right. I mean, what I did was like the people I wanted to talk to, I kept talking to. Mm-hmm. Everyone else, I was like, okay, we're friends, but like I don't really care about you too much. Mm-hmm. Granted, I know you don't care about me as much, so like we can fall off. I don't care, but I only stopped talking to people from middle school towards like sophomore year. Mm-hmm. Like I would still go on like one of my friends. She would like text me and be like, "Hey, when do you want to go get lunch?" I'd be like, I can't drive, but if you can scoop, you can come get me, bro. And so she would like, she would come pick me up or whatever. And would still like hang out. And then towards the end of like sophomore year, first semester, towards the end of that, I stopped talking to some people. My friend Zach, I used to talk to him during high school a lot. We still used to play like PS3. And then the only reason I stopped talking to him was because he sold his PS3 and got a PS4. And so that one-on-one, me and him playing against like the world, like, party, ended up being just me by myself because he doesn't have the game anymore. And that's how we stopped talking.
Sad gamer hours, bro.
And me and him like the same girl in band. And we would talk about liking that girl, but he was closer to the girl than I was. I was kind of just like third wheeling sometimes. And then in high school, after we started talking, I saw him date her. Yo! And I was like, let's go. Let's go.
You did it.
Salute, man. You did it.
You made it.
You got it, both of us, bro. You got it for both of us. And then she they dated for like a year and a half to like 2. And I was like, you get it, man. And he's like ripped and like he goes rock climbing. He's one of those rock climbing guys.
That's sick.
And I was like, you did it, brother. And every now and then like something would pop up that would lead to us talking. And then we fall off again. Mm-hmm. And then like they broke up. And then she's now dating like a 6'7" black dude who's like completely the opposite of my friend Zach. My friend Zach's from like Kazakhstan or something, and so like,
Whoa.
but he has like I think his mom's like, I think his dad is like, no, he's Kurdish, and Kurdish. Shoot, what is he from? One of those K words, and his mom is like some sort of like Asian,
Kazaki?
which is Kazakhstan.
I thought you said Uzbekistan was his
No, Kazakhstan. It was either that or Kurdish, one of the two. And his mom was like some sort of Asian, so he didn't look like either of the two. He was kind of right in the middle, so he would still look white. He's very like ripped,
wonky slush.
and he
Am I wrong?
anyway, and he would like have tattoos and like all this stuff, and like he looks very different from what the girl was going after. And I was like, well, good run, buddy. And then we just like, didn't go back to not talking anymore. But going to high school, that the whole like not connecting anymore was sad. But then as people started veering off, I started making other friends, and I was like, I don't need you no more, but I would like to have you a little bit, but I don't need you no more. And then that led to that.
What's really weird is that, like, for me, the first couple weeks of high school, I like immediately made friends, which is very strange because I was so reserved. I didn't really think people were real. But like I remember there were these two really popular girls in our grade at the time when cliques were still a thing, and they were like making fun of the game club. With Tigress and McConnell and stuff. So you know who they are.
I don't remember what the girls were.
Well,
what's the first letter of their
I don't know if they're gonna watch this.
What's the first letter of their name?
Y'all were different people at the time. It was Sophanie and it was
Sterling.
Sterling.
Oh, they're not gonna listen to this at all.
So
I went to middle school with Sophanie. That's how I knew her.
So they were making fun of them, and I walked up to them. And I was like, "Yo, why don't you guys just make fun of something that like where people actually care about what you have to say?" And they were like, oh, "Okay, fine." And then they walked away, and I made friends with them immediately. And I felt like I was in high school. Like I was that character who's the new kid to the high school that's already started, and all the cliques you disturb them. This is literally how high school was. Like cliques did not survive, and then we made new ones. But it's really weird to look back because now, with humility, we were like very popular at the end of our high school experience, right? Like we were at the top, we were where we
were asking people who were the most popular people because we didn't think we were popular,
and they kept saying us.
And they're like, you guys have the biggest, like most known friend group, and like you guys were the nicest and talked to all of us. We're like, huh? No, isn't that like the other group over there? No, it's
so
y'all.
that makes me raise the question, like, what does it do? Is it because you're attractive that you reach another echelon of popularity where people are like, yeah, listen, you're nice or whatever, like you're a good human being and you're nice to be around, but they're just hot. So
they're just like
hot, you can't even compete with them, so don't even try.
Okay,
that's how it felt because all of those guys who were really popular, they were like one-dimensional dum-dums. Like they had nothing going on for them.
Shoot, how do I explain this? It was kind of like in middle school. They were the cool kids because they were. Part of it was them being like the airhead, cool, I don't care about the world people, and then they would like talk back to teachers and that stuff, and they would go out of their way to make themselves known, and some of them were good looking, 100%. Like some of the girls in that group, the one with the one I fight every now and then, like her friend group and like them, they were the ones that consider themselves really cool. But that's because like they're the most vocal and like out there and like they'll be willing to do the stupid stuff, and that's why it was like, oh, ha, 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 ha. But he's also a little good looking. Damn, I see you, big man. Let me see that.
Yeah, like Dylan, bro.
Yeah, Dylan.
Every time I saw Dylan, I was like, shoot, man.
Everyone knew him.
We're really in one of those high school movies right now, bro.
We got the wrong genes.
There was also this weird phenomena where we talked about this a while back where we looked younger than everyone. Yeah. Like our upperclassmen, they looked much older than us. Other kids in our grade and other schools, they looked older than us. But for some reason, all of us looked like chumps. We looked like little babies. And puberty wasn't sticking and we didn't look like old enough. So we didn't have what you would now call like the TikTok e-boy like look where you just could not get the max level of attractiveness to achieve that kind of popularity.
I had an idea about that a little while ago. Not a little while ago, I think a week or two ago. Was it because our high school didn't have sports? Because, nowadays, whenever you see, like, e-boy, good-looking guys, they're all, like, kind of in good in shape and, like, ripped. And, like, they're not fat, they're not skinny, but they're kind of, like, good physique. Mm-hmm. And then girls are, like... Well, girls are a different story. But at least for us, like, us guys, like, most of them are, like, good physique. They look good. Yeah. And they understand their life a little more. Was it because, like... because even in middle school when I was working out and doing that stuff, I felt a lot better, health wise, and cooler just because I was like skinnier and ripped and I can bench like a good amount.
I think it's not the whole reason, but it is definitely
there's a good part of it
because working out would have accelerated all the guys' testosterones. We would have gotten beards faster. Our cheeks would have been chiseled much earlier, and all that stuff. And all of the most attractive people at the school were ones who had participated in sports previously.
Like Dylan was a soccer junkie, bro. Dude. He was on football team in middle school. Like I went to middle school with him, but he was only a kicker because he had the legs for it since he played soccer. And then now you see him, he's like ripped and shredded, but his legs are still like, his main thing. And so like Dylan was a prime specimen now you think about it. And our group and like our current group, Thomas is the most like athletic, good looking one, technically.
Yeah. It's very strange because like that's what I'm saying. Like if you examine our friend group, there was a ceiling where we could not get more popular because we were at the top.
Yeah. We would just bring in more people that made us more popular.
If the school was larger, we could have gotten more popular, but do you think we would have still been the top?
I think in every high school, in every school, there's the really cool, like, jockey type, and then there's a really cool, like, normal, well-known type.
I think we were the normal.
We were the normal, well-known type, because, the girl I'm talking about, Dylan's group, was the cool jockey type, and then we were the normal type.
I think a part of the component of the coolest kids, right, is they do the things that
we know not to.
The school ecosystem says it's cool, the stuff that you know not to, right?
Yeah.
So, in a normal high school, all those dumb jockey things, those are the norm. But at our high school, because it was an engineering, STEAM-based, whatever, we were more intellectual. So
I was going to say that
what
earlier,
was the cool thing to do was what we were doing, being active and, getting to get your teachers to let you do anything. And
I was going to say, that's the biggest part.
So we were doing the cool kid things. They were
doing the normal high school stuff thing.
And for us as a community in school, we labeled them as just they went from being the cool kids, and especially after Dylan left and a couple of more, the literally just attractive kids.
Yeah.
They just went from being the cool kids to the
annoying a little bit.
You guys are just like rowdy.
Yeah.
So then they got to like the rowdy crowd instead of being the cool kid crowd, because we changed the definition of what cool meant.
In our high school, we were able to like convince teachers to let us do certain things, X, Y, and Z, skip class and not get in trouble for it. And all that stuff. And they weren't able to because they were labeled as freshmen as like the rowdy kids. And we weren't. We were like kind of like just figuring out what the life was of high school. And then whenever we figured out that we can do certain things and not get in trouble for it, granted, they're not like bad things. I'm not saying like we do anything bad.
If the teachers let us, they trusted us. It wasn't bad.
The teachers trusted us more to do certain things, which makes us, and quote unquote, like cooler. Which was weird to us because we had that idea of like, oh, we gotta be like really cool and attractive, and that's why we're not cool kids, and that's why we didn't think we were the cool kids. And then when people were at the end of the year, senior year, they're like, yeah, you guys are technically considered the cool kids, and we're like, huh? No. Isn't that another group? Isn't that Dylan's group?
I think it also had to do with the fact that we weren't tearing people down. Yeah. We were only building people up.
How many people?
So it felt weird that the cool kids weren't mean or like exclusive. We were very inclusive.
They knew like we kind of like ran the school. I'm saying this as like we're not like cockiness, but like we kind of like ran the school in a certain way. Yeah. Where like I was like Stuco president, right? And so I was able to like convince teachers to do certain things, let us do certain things. And they knew like at one point one of them was talking to me about asking if we can do something. So they had to like come to me and do it. I'm not saying this out of like cockiness or like, as like I'm saying like humbly, right? Yeah. But like it kind of like ended up lining up to them. They had like we had a mutual understanding without even talking about it. They're like, we won't know you guys. We don't care about you guys. You don't care about us. We're just moving on. But we're on the same level of maybe coolness.
I remember even before I was grade rep, there was like times where people would be like, hey, Assad, do you think this thing on the test is weird? Or like, and I'd be like, yeah, actually. Yeah. Let me go talk to Ms. Pinner about it, and they'd be like, no, don't do that.
Don't do that. No,
and I'm fine. like, let me just go talk, and then I get it remedied or whatever, and they'd be like, oh.
And it's weird. I don't know, but like I think it's because the different school type.
But you know the weird thing
that led to us.
Every time we went to like high school parties and like events that were
not the cool kids.
Yeah, not only were we not the cool kids, but I felt like. You remember we've talked about this before, my progress of becoming more confident and all that through school, it all disappeared when I was in the proximity of very nice looking people or very like popular people. I felt like I was in middle school again, and I had that same pent up resentment against them, and there's nothing I could do, and I don't think all of them felt like that, but I felt like they thought they were better than me. So I was always like mad at them for no reason because I was like, you actively look at me and you're like,
You look down
you are
on me.
lesser. Which I guess in a way it was like that.
Yeah.
Because when you're in cliques, you know who's under and lower. Like you can see the hierarchy after a time. Like in our school, also in middle school, you kind of just figure it out, right? You know who's cool and who's not.
I had the same, like when we went to one of our friends' parties, I had the same thing you're talking about. Like I was like, oh, all these guys are like way cooler. Like they probably think more. But because I was in that weird mind space in middle school, I knew how to act with these guys if needed be. But I was like, I don't care to. If someone walked up to me and started talking to me, I'll know how to like match the energy. But I'm like, this ain't me, and I know like they're cooler in the sense of like coolness. But like I can kind of merge and match if need be. But I just don't care to. And that's why I was kind of like, I'm not gonna hang out with you guys. Like Go Pulse party or whatever. We all of our group hung out together versus the 700 other people that were in
all
in
of
the house.
those many around people.
Yeah, and so I was like, I don't want to go talk to the cool kid.
I think there's another component to that because you had that information and people like Thomas, they were naturally very talky. With
Me and Thomas, I think, were the most comfortable there just because like we knew how to deal with stuff.
Whenever Thomas or you or anybody else of that stature, right, talks about being in parties and just talk to people, like just meet people, right?
Yeah.
Because that is what parties are. Whatever happens, it's just a way to mingle and meet people. But from my perspective, it makes zero sense how I can go up to someone I don't know and talk to them.
Yeah.
And make a relationship with someone who I literally don't know. So for me, the idea of even needing to like that's why not only was I physically not talking to people, right? Like I didn't know how.
Yeah.
But also, I was like physically distanced from people because I was like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I just stand there if I'm not talking to people?
Right.
But Thomas, like, remember he was telling us, I just like walk in there, say hi to somebody, and then just start talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's weird, yeah. One of my things during that party, I keep referencing this party because it's the most one off the top of my head. We also had like Maggie's party, but that one was a little different.
That was a little
weird and different. We kind of ran that party awkwardly, but
that's like, just because we were the largest group there.
Yeah, we're the largest group. But for like GoPulse party, he had like a bunch of like normal. They came from a really big school, and so they all kind of knew each other. They kind of all knew how to like talk to each other. I talked to some new people, but it was because they vibed in the same mindset that I vibed, and I didn't have to change my vibe. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like Joseph was one of the guys that I met there, and me and Sienna and like a couple other people were talking. And he would then like come and talk to us because he overheard something that we said. He was like, "Oh wait, y'all do that too? Oh shit, that's cool." And then we started talking. But like, I never went out of my way to meet anyone new. Mm-hmm. Gopal tried to pull me. Remember in the backyard, they were all like slapboxing.
Yes, I remember.
Gopal knew that I know how to like fight and like I'm gonna say know how to fight as in like a black belt or whatever. But like I've been in a fight before. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, come outside. You'll meet some new people and like you get to slapbox." I'm like, "No, I'm just turned 18. All of you guys are still like." Technically underage. I'm not trying to get sent to jail. And his friends thought that was funny. I was like, "Nah, I'm kind of serious." And they're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I might be the second oldest person in this house." And
I think you were.
Yeah,
you and Azo.
No. Was Azo there? I don't think Azo was there.
I think he came later.
I know Sammy was 20.
Then he was probably the oldest.
I think he was the oldest one there, and then Joseph was after that, and then I think it was me.
Bro, Sammy was our age.
Sammy was 20, so I guess now he's 22.
Yeah, but imagine someone our age going to a high school party,
which is weird. I guess like he was family friends with them or something. I don't know. The only time I actually talked to people was because Gopal was like, "Hey, bro, come meet this guy and this guy." I don't even know their names.
See, that's what I thought made sense. The host introducing you and connecting you to people.
But in high school parties, that doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes in college parties, you can do that if like you know the guy running the place. But
and you know how this connects all the way back to what I was saying? When I was at that party the other day, and I was the most social one in the room, again, that same middle school me, I felt that high because I was like, I don't feel like I'm inferior to you people. I feel like I'm above you in a certain sense. So it was really easy to get people's numbers because I was like, I don't feel lesser. Yeah. And I relish every moment I have like that. It's like a power trip in my head. I have to remind myself because I'm like, it's weird because it's not that I conquered the problem. Mm-hmm. It's just that I've aged out of the problem.
Yeah.
And if you know me, you know me. But if you know me, that doesn't sit right in my head because I didn't actually do the work to fix the thing. I got lucky that it's over.
Yeah.
And that's why every time I get in those situations, I always feel like the little dwarf again. And I'm always like, I feel like the worst. Like I'm not anything compared to anybody. But that's the weird thing about Colin.
I was actually just about to bring up like colleges and stuff like that. Yeah.
College. That's the weird thing about college. That it's I could feel that, and I do sometimes, especially with like you know those certain like cool kid groups that sit in the middle area.
I hate those
They
kids.
do give me those vibes, but for the most part, everybody looks average, and they act average, and I'm the smarter one in the room usually.
Yeah.
So it's like it's chill. I don't feel pressure when I go there.
Yeah.
Every day of middle school,
You felt a little pressure.
it felt like a jungle. It felt like a race. It felt like a competition, a game that you had to play along with actually having to get good grades.
Because people actually thought, and technically, if you didn't go to like a different high school, you would go down that road and know everyone on that trip. You know, you go from elementary school to middle school to high school all together. So if you middle school is the prime time to meet
build
new
all those
people and you build the foundations and you make the cliques and you take that clique and go to high school. Some fall off, some stay together, whatever.
Especially when
But
other
that's the
high
idea.
school people come in, it's like your cool kids versus their cool kids, and then it's
And
like
then maybe they'll merge,
whatever
maybe they'll fight.
beef we have, it's a territory war now, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta beat the other guys, or we gotta.
But that's
come on top.
you're going in with people from middle school.
Pre-built
We
stuff.
didn't do any of that stuff, so it's kind of different.
Yeah.
Granted, we had a couple
We had
people
a
from our
completely
middle
fresh start.
schools, but like it was pretty much fresh.
For me, it was like 3-4 folks.
I think-
and they were like me.
Yeah,
And for you,
I
it
had
was
the
like you
most,
had the cooler
yeah.
kids who were there and all the other stuff.
I remember
Yeah.
talking to our counselors. They're like, "Yeah, technically, your middle school had the most kids come in." But what's it called? What I was gonna say was, I didn't go to. I currently don't go to any like college parties, and I don't care to. But I think what I'm trying to figure out was, I think people go to college parties more to like drink and like have fun because all of the mind stress they get from college.
Mm-hmm.
While high school parties, they kind of do the same thing because they want to grow up and like
They want to feel
be
like
adults.
they're at the college stage.
Yeah. But I think what GoPal's party kind of was there was no alcohol, so there wasn't exactly like a party. It was more of like a get together, talk.
Yeah, which I think the people
Which made it
definitely
weird.
thought it was lame, but
Yeah.
at the same time they understand that it's his parents. They can't.
Yeah, which
That's
made
a
it a
little-
little weird, and like I think that's where. Would you go to a college party if it's like drinking like that stuff?
I want to go to one that I know is controlled enough, just so I can see it and know what I'm not missing out on. Then after that, I'll probably never do it again.
But like if you go to a college party, the chances of you talking to someone is pretty slim.
That's
Unless
why I
you know
wanted-
someone there.
That's why I wanted to go to Azos, because it's ours, right? It's like
Right.
run by our people. So at
Yeah.
least in that regard, I can let that small insecurity in me be a little calm by the fact that it's my friends that are hosting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just go to anybody. It's like random, like I figure you're going down the street and someone's throwing a thing. I wouldn't do that.
I went to one with Sienna, and it was me, Sienna, and Danielle, and I had no clue who the person was, but I was like, okay, whatever. And I went, and it was the most awkward thing on earth because it was us. It was 3 girls, me, Sienna, and one of her friends, and like that's our group. And then the guy's house that we were at, all the boys plus 1 girl were all in the kitchen cooking food and talking to each other, and we were sitting with like on a side. And I was like, "Why are we here?"
I
And she
can
was like,
feel the
for
cringe.
like a, it's called, what was it called? It was like a barbecue like get together or something like that. I'm like, Sienna, you don't even know the person here. Why are we here? She goes like, to have some fun.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
the
okay.
weird
I
thing,
was like-
especially if you don't know anybody directly there. Like, you have to be a kind of person like Sienna or Thomas. Like,
Yeah, I
to
was like, yeah,
actually-
go have fun. She goes, but I don't know anyone here. I'm like, thank you, I'm leaving. And I got up like after 2 hours after talking to like 6 people. They were like, okay, we're gonna head out now. I'm like, wow, bro, I didn't eat. I came and wasted my life. I'm about to go home. I'm hungry. Like, what is this?
As lame as it sounds, and I know that, I like events where you do things with people, specifically like volunteering,
Mhm.
because you're literally doing a thing. So in those moments of silence, you're waiting tables or you're picking up a thing, moving a box, doing something. You're talking to people who are in the same role as you. I don't know. There are probably other events, but volunteering is just the first thing that came to mind. Or like when we do orientation stuff with people, so we're like advisors, and then we meet other, like at robotics this happened a lot. I would talk to the other MCs or the other like coaches or things like that, so I would get to know other people who are doing the same thing as me. But I just can't wrap my head around parties, and I want to figure it out. I feel all those things, so I want to figure that out.
My ending thought at this was that during at that party, I talked to a bunch of like random kids I don't really care about, but the only person I really enjoyed talking to was the dad in the room, the father,
his
just because he
parents.
was watching.
Mwah.
No, I'm talking about like the one with the Sienna, like the party with
Oh,
Sienna.
that one.
Yeah. The only person, he was like a grown African American 60-year-old gentleman, and he walks out of his room with a Mandalorian shirt because that's when the
Hey,
Mandalorian was
yo.
on. He goes, "Anybody want to watch with me?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do." I got up and went and
I
hung out with
remember
him.
you texting us about this.
Yeah,
when you
I
were
went and
in
hung out
there.
with him. I was like, "Screw the rest of these kids."
Aw, yeah, that
And
sounds
Cena
like
was
a lot
like,
more
"What the
fun.
hell?" I'm like, "Yeah, screw all of you. I'm gonna enjoy it." I just sat there and talked to him about
No,
the
that
show.
sounds like a lot more
That's
fun.
it. See, just find yourself a parent at their party. You're not gonna find parents at parties.
I guess a better thing, activity-based things. So going to the movies,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Or,
not
like,
the movies.
doing
per
a
se, but
thing.
yeah.
No, like even going to the movies.
But
Like
you don't talk to people in the movies.
it's more like when you get out of the movie.
Yeah, that's after you get out of the movie.
'Cause then
but
you
like
hang
the actual
out and
movie
then-
movie is
And
different.
like I love the way we do it because we usually have an activity and then we just do stuff. So like we'll
Yeah.
walk down this street, we'll go food
Or,
there,
yeah, we'll
we'll
go get
drive over
food or
here.
something, yeah.
It's not necessarily the only thing we do is the thing that we came with, but
Yeah.
and if you're with strangers, that's easy because then you can like grow from there. You can meet people, you more things that you're like out and about. But
Yeah.
when it's just you with something that makes you change your personality, and then a bunch of other people who you also don't know who are also changing their personality. I don't know. I'm too scared. Like I've never understood the thing. I'm sure it exists, but
Anyway,
yeah, I think we need to cut it.
I wanna
there.
be a kid.
I definitely could talk about this more.
I want to go back to being a kid.
I also want to go to back to being a kid just a little bit because I
When I was
want
happy.
to see what I
lovely.
can do with my new powers.
Honestly, yeah, if we went back and become a kid with our
kinda lit.
current intellectualness, I'd be lit, bro. Anyway,
But
I'd invest in Amazon and
yeah,
Bitcoin.
we can. We'll
Or
end
leave
that
it there.
here.
Thank y'all for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for
Hope
listening.
you get shocked.
I hope. Yeah, I hope somebody can feel the how do I put this? The electricity of their youth surge through their fingers back into their brain.
Electric love. Anyway,
Electric love, electric boogaloo.
thank you.
Bye, yo.
Adios.